Hello, chemistry students. This is Mr. Bennett, and today we're going to do a lesson on solutions. So I hope you guys are having a good day. And here we go. It'll be just like writing on the blackboard. And I'd like you guys to take some notes, and I'll try to take my time here. And then obviously you can pause as you go along to do it at your own pace. So come on over here. So, studying solutions. Now that's a word I may have mentioned a while ago, but I'd like to go way back to the beginning of the year when we talked about matter, and that there are two types of matter. There's pure matter and impure matter. And pure matter would be, as you probably can figure out, that would be elements and compounds. You probably remember that. And then the impure matter would be what we call mixtures. And the mixtures would be heterogeneous mixtures and homogeneous. You probably remember these. Heterogeneous mixtures are mixtures that are not evenly mixed, not even. So the classic example of a heterogeneous mixture was the old chocolate chip cookie. And then homogeneous mixtures are evenly mixed. And basically, a homogeneous mixture is a solution. They are one and the same. Okay? So it's a word that you knew about from a long time ago, but you didn't know that it was called a solution. Unless I mentioned it back then. And if I did, you probably don't remember me mentioning that. So, what are the two most common solutions on Earth? Think about that for just a minute. I'll wait. I'll give you a minute to think about it. I would have you raise your hand. And I'll bet you some of you would say, these are very common. In fact, they're all around and we need them. And one of them would be air, because that's an even mixture of a lot of different gases. Nitrogen plus oxygen plus a bunch of other gases, carbon dioxide, water vapor, and they're evenly mixed. So that would be one of the most common solutions on Earth. The other one is seawater. We've mentioned this, talked about that lots of times during the year. Seawater is basically a mixture, an even mixture of mostly sodium chloride and water. There are a lot of other things besides sodium chloride, but basically that would be it. And so it's an even mixture of those. So, most solutions that we deal with on a daily basis or in chemistry class are going to be a solid dissolved in a liquid. So, a good example would be sugar dissolved in water, and that would give you sugar water. Take another good one. Salt mixed in water, salt water. So these are, if you have a solid and you mix it with a liquid, you get a solution. Solution. There we go. Another one that we've dealt with this year was when we took, the solid was copper chloride, which was blue, you might remember. And we mixed that with water. I mixed it with water. and we got a copper chloride aqueous solution, AQ. You might remember that. Now we have a name for these two parts of a solution. The part that does the dissolving, the substance that does the dissolving is called the solvent. In most cases, the solvent in chemistry class or in real life is going to be water, right? Doesn't always have to be water, but most of the time it's water. Now, what about the substance that is dissolved? The sugar, the salt, the copper chloride. That is called the solute. So, solute plus solvent equals solution. Any questions? As usual, there are no questions. Okay. Now, there are 3 different types of solutions. We just talked about one, but actually solutions involve more than just liquids. They can actually involve solids. And an example of a solid solution, I'll put my hand out here. This ring is made of 18 karat gold, which means it's not pure gold. So it's an even mixture of gold and silver that were melted together to make what we call an alloy. And so it's actually a solution. It's a homogeneous mixture of 2 metals, gold and silver. Now, you guys made one earlier in the year. You made, with the Gold Penny Lab, you combined copper and zinc to make brass. Now, another type of solution would be a gas. We mentioned that earlier. Air is an even mixture of nitrogen, oxygen, and other gases. Most commonly, what we deal with in chemistry are liquid solutions, and there are actually 3 types of those. There are gases that are dissolved in liquids, and you guys are familiar with those for sure, such as fizzy water. So fizzy water is water mixed with CO2. So that would be a gas in a liquid. Okay. Then there are liquids dissolved in liquids. And this is in your bathroom. So this is alcohol, and that would be alcohol dissolved in water. So it's a liquid in a liquid. But in chemistry, we mostly deal with solids dissolved in liquids. The things we already mentioned: salt water, sugar water, and copper chloride. Okay. The last thing I wanted to address was suspensions. What's the difference between a suspension and a solution? And here are the differences. Well, let's just go through. In a suspension, the solid is not dissolvable. In a solution, the solid is dissolvable. So 2 words that you could use that would be better than not dissolvable or dissolvable are soluble or insoluble. So in a suspension, the solid is visible. And in a solution, the solid is not visible. So I can give you an example of that. You may have done this on your on a lab that you did at your kitchen lab. So if you take flour and mix that in water, it doesn't dissolve, and it creates a liquid where you can't see through it. So you can see the flour, and you can't see through that one. Whereas if you take sugar and mix that into water, after just a few minutes, this will become completely clear, and you'll be able to see right through it as though the sugar's not even there. Okay? So another name for something that's not clear would be opaque. A suspension would be opaque, and the solution would be what we call transparent. The examples that we just showed were the flour and water, and then in this case it was sugar water. And that is it for the lesson. Does anyone have any questions on the difference between suspension and solution? Okay, well that'll be it for the lesson. Mr. Bennett signing off.